How many times have you seen people who run for office and everybody's like, oh, yeah, that person, they'd be great. They're so good at this, whatever, you name it. And then, they start gaining a little bit of traction, and then they flame out way before they even make it to the final, you know, 10 or whatever. So many people, like, you remember they had the primary, the Democratic primary a couple of years ago, and there was like 12 people at the first debate. That was way too many. You couldn't hear anybody just talking over themselves. Impossible. And when you get in a situation like that, like, the average person cannot make a decision amongst 12 options. They just can't. So you have to narrow it down really fast. And that's what they did ultimately. But they narrowed it down based on who the heck was the best at selling themselves. That's the criteria. Smart, dumb people. Okay. There's not a single elected official who didn't have to sell themselves in some capacity. Like, do you really think that the populace knows what they're voting for? Did you really think that we actually can comprehend everything that we're actually voting on? It's like virtually impossible. It really is. Most people just pick the 2 or 3 issues that they have the most energy about, whether or not they even affect their lives, by the way. It's just what gets them the most riled up, and then they make a decision based on that. That's pretty much it. Prove me wrong. I want lower taxes. Well, okay. How about you start by quantifying the amount of tax dollars that you actually pay now and what that gets you? That might be a good way to start in order to make a decision based on actual information other than, I want lower taxes. I was looking at somebody's tax return the other day. It was a couple. I'm going off script. They had like $100,000, $110,000 of income. Pretty normal. Whatever. Total tax liability, federal income tax, $4,700. Is that a lot or a little? I don't know. Is $100,000 a lot or a little income? I don't know. But those were the numbers. I just kind of thought it was interesting. I went, lower taxes, higher taxes? It's an interesting place to start that discussion once you actually can frame it in context. So here's the other thing too about like smart dumb people is smart dumb people are really good at figuring out what the incentive system is of any sort of structure and then exploiting that incentive system. That's what they're good at. Forget everything else. I'm just going to do this thing. My mother went to Firestone Tire or whatever the other day to get an oil change. My mother's very good at exploiting the systems that are presented to her as a consumer. She gets a coupon in the mail, every week or every other week, or I don't know how often these things come out. And she'll literally clip it. When's the last time you clipped a coupon? And she'll go to the place every time she needs an oil change. And then she'll get this oil change for, I don't know what the discount is, 25%, 50%, who knows? Doesn't matter. And she's done this multiple times. It's not a big deal. Like, what does an oil change even cost? I actually have no idea. Tens of dollars. And last time she went there, I guess she had gone a few times. The manager was like, hey, we're not making any money on this. Like, can you buy something else? And she was like, no, you gave me this coupon. That's your fault for making the system. My incentive is to go and get the least expensive oil change that I can that meets whatever minimum standard that I deem necessary. You guys seem to be able to be competent at doing an oil change, and you seem to offer the lowest price. Therefore, I'm going to do it. I have no obligation to do anything else because you guys created the system. I don't think he really liked that. I'm not exactly sure she said it like that, but she just got the oil change and left. Maybe she won't go back there. Who knows? And I just think it's funny because the system that was created, yeah, sure, there were some like intentions that they wanted other people to buy other things because they had this really low price on this one item. A lost leader. But you don't have to. And they have to realize that's a risk of setting up a system like that. We let people vote on stuff. They're going to vote for the people who attract them the most. Most of the time, people are voting for offices that A, they've never held, B, The person who are running never held. So how do they have context to even make this decision?